Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming back. Sorry it's been so long since I made my last video. I've had no time. School's crazy. Midterm season, holy, just way too much shit. There's just so much to do. I haven't had the time to sit down. But I'm like, you know what? Halloween's this week and I had like this cool idea to make it kind of a more spooky video. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about black magic and my personal stories with it. If you don't know what black magic is, it's basically like, I guess kind of like an old tradition, an old folks tale, whatever they want to call it, where people who have certain abilities, they are able to cast spells, curses, whatever on others by performing certain rituals or saying certain things, okay? And I have firsthand family experience with this. These are stories, these are things that have been told to me by my mom, by my aunts, by my grandma, and like they have no reason to lie to me. I have no reason to lie to you. I'm not a liar. I just don't lie. I'm not a liar. There's no reason to lie. So everything that I'm telling you is true. If you want to believe it, believe it. If you don't, I don't give a shit. Okay, so let me give you a little background. So I'm from Macedonia, okay? That's a country in Eastern Europe in the Balkans, and pretty small country, 2 million people. There's basically a bunch of villages, and these villages are like very rural, just farm towns, basically, whatever. So my grandparents lived in a village, and they also had my grandpa's brother. Yeah, I think my grandpa's brother. He was also living in this village as well, okay? And he's married to this woman. They had kids, and technically, I'm like second cousins. These are like my second cousins. It's like the grandma of my second cousins, okay? So this grandma of my second cousins is said to be like the witch in like in this village, okay? I remember like every time we would go to their house, my grandma would always say like, don't drink anything, don't eat anything, don't let her like talk to you much, like don't let her touch you, like just don't. And I never really understood why, because like when I went, I haven't been to Macedonia in a while, but when I would go, I'd be a kid and I'm like, what the hell? Like, so if they offer me juice, I'm supposed to say no? But this grandma had this reputation for just being evil. So here's when it all started. So my grandma on my mom's side, basically, so my mom's mom has 3 daughters, 2 sons, okay? So this was before my mom was born. Her 2 older sisters were friends with the other grandma, like the witch grandma's daughter, okay? Because they're related, they were cousins. So what happened was that witch grandma's daughter ended up running away with some guy at age 13 to get married. And she thought that my aunts had something to do with it. So basically what she did was just start chanting all these spells and like gathering all this stuff to put like a curse on my family. So what happened was that day that her daughter ran away, so like if this is my grandma's house, their house is the other, like the witch grandma's house is like a little bit up here, like up this kind of hill, and they could just hear her chanting these. They're not Macedonian. I don't even know what language it's in, to be honest. I don't know. They don't know either. But these like spells, she's just saying things. She's throwing salt. She's making some things. And basically her whole intention was like to put a curse on my family. And from all the events that have happened in my family's life on my mom's side, I 100% think she did it. Everyone has just so many different problems, whether it's financial, health, mental, family problems, marriage problems, like everybody has it. But because my mom wasn't born yet, because my mom's the last born, she's the youngest, she wasn't born yet. So I don't think she got affected by the curse because my mom's life has been pretty blessed, you know. But I don't think she was affected by it, but everybody else was. So that's how this whole thing started, basically, that got my family involved. Basically, the way that black magic works is that there's obviously certain spells and certain rituals that you perform, and they have to be done with having some sort of human, like, not sacrifice, but like some sort of human object or thing. So for example, taking pieces of your hair, whether it's from your head, pubic hair, nails, human blood, so something that's coming from a human. So you're gonna take that, whether it's your own, and basically it's like you cast the spell through this object, and then this object you have to like put it in the presence of the person that you want to cause the harm to or whatever, basically. So For example, one time my mom, when she was a kid, she was just playing around like in her village, and in the river she found like this blue bag, and inside the bag there was like a bunch of pubic hair and like some like salt and some other things, and she showed it to her mom, and her mom's like, oh my god, like throw that away, like that's someone's like black magic that they were doing. Okay, so I'm gonna start this off with the story that I personally think is the most fucked, because if this should happen to me, just know I'm burning my whole house down. Like it's done. It would be over for me. This is how it goes. So my cousin was sick a few years ago. Not really sure what sickness, not really sure what was going on. Either way, he was in the hospital because he was pretty sick. And his mom, like any normal person, went straight to the psychic. Because in Macedonia, they have this thing where, oh, you're sick? Well, let me go to the psychic. And the psychic's gonna tell me who is causing me all this sickness. Because clearly, biological factors have nothing to do with it. Because, medicine, you don't need medicine if the psychic can heal you. That's literally how they think. I'm telling you, like, the first thing you go to is you go to the psychic. Because the psychic clearly has more knowledge than a doctor who spent all this time getting their degree. So she goes to the psychic, and the psychic tells her, there is someone in your son's life who is causing him this sickness. They want to see him ill. And they have left something in your son's room, which is basically where all like the negative energy is being stored and is being released from. So obviously my aunt, she goes home and she's like, hey, what the fuck? So she goes in his room and starts looking through everything. She's ripping apart all the drawers, the closet. She's pulling up carpets, checking behind furniture. She can't find anything. And the thing is, she doesn't even know what she's looking for. The psychic just said there's something, but what can that something be? It can be anything. But the thing with the psychics is, like, when you see the item, like, you will know what it is, because it's something that's not supposed to be there. It's something that's just completely out of the ordinary. So my aunt's looking around. She's looking for hours. She can't find anything. Finally, she goes to his bed. And the way that I see it with like black magic is that the more personal, I guess, value that certain item like that an item or that an area has, the more likely that's where the negative energy will be like infested too. So for example, a bed, you spend a lot of time in your bed. So that's how my aunt was thinking. She's like, okay, well, he spends a lot of time in his bed. It must be something with the bed. Someone must have done something with the bed. So she starts looking, she starts pulling up the sheet. She's looking like on the different sides, under the mattress, on the pillow, and she's touching the pillow. She takes off like the pillowcase. And as she's touching the pillow, she's like pressing down on it. She feels something in the middle of the pillow. And she's like, okay, like, what's that? So she cuts the side open and starts reaching in, starts pulling out like some of the stuffing of the pillow. And she pulls out a little brown like cloth bag. And she opens the brown cloth bag and she finds human teeth. Human teeth. I don't know how many there were. There was a few, and they were like rotting. There was rotting human teeth in a cloth bag in the middle of his pillow. How is that even possible? Like, imagine you find any human thing, like even a bag of like human hair, that would be enough for me. But like human teeth, like these are somebody's teeth. Whose teeth are they? That's the thing. Like, my aunt had so many questions. So obviously she's freaking out. She's like, there's no way that he bought the pillow like this. They've had this pillow for like a while. Like, how would someone even get these teeth inside the pillow? So they take this bag of like the teeth back to the psychic, and she tells her what to do. She's like, you need to go home, you need to burn it, you need to put like this salt, you need to say this thing, because they have like these certain cleansing, like, I guess, rituals, because once you get rid of the object, then you can get rid of like whatever's the sickness, basically. So the psychic did confirm. She's like, this is the object. My aunt like took the thing, she burned it, she did all the cleansing rituals needed, and within like the next 2 days he was fully recovered, fully out of the hospital. So I don't really know what explanation to gather from that. Like, there's no logical thing that I can think of as like how teeth could get in there. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe like, what if the manufacturer, like, but still, how, like, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I feel like they would notice that ahead of time if there was teeth. Like, you would feel that there's something in your pillow. So I don't know how my cousin didn't feel it, or maybe it was put in after he went to the hospital, because at this point he's already been in the hospital for a few weeks. But I don't know. When I found out that story, I'm like, wow, that is just crazy. Like I have no rational explanation for how that could have happened. I just don't even know how someone would be able to pull that off. But clearly it was done, and clearly once the teeth were, you know, cleansed, my cousin was healed. I have an uncle, my mom's brother. He is almost 50 actually, not married. And when someone doesn't get married in Macedonia, that doesn't make sense, right? They're like, why is they not married? There's clearly something wrong with them. So they took him to a psychic, and the psychic told him, she's like, you have a curse that was put on you when you were young, and this curse has been what's stopping you from getting married, basically. And she said, if you want to break this curse, there's this church that's in the village, basically. She's like, there's this church that we have that's in the village where they live. She's like, you have to take the keys of the church and just open the door. She's like, if you can open the door, then you can break the curse. And he's like, okay, well, what the hell? Like, that's simple. Just take the keys, unlock the door. So a few days later, they go down to this church, and my uncle takes the key. My uncle goes, puts in the keys, door's not opening. He literally can't open the door. And he's like, okay, maybe it's the wrong key. And the guy's like, that's the only key. The door's not opening. So my uncle's like, okay, what the hell? So then my grandma tried. My grandma does it. The door opens. They close it again. The other man there tried. He opens the door. My aunt tried. They open the door. They close it again. My uncle tries again. He can't open the door. But they're all using the same key, and the door's unlocking for them. But it's not. It's like locking for him. So if that's not weird enough, there was another village that they went to, and there was a church there. And he's like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to test my luck. Let me try opening it here. Same thing. Couldn't open the door at that church either. But he could open, but everyone else could open it with the same key. Just for him, it wouldn't open. So I guess, like, for those reasons, like, the curse couldn't be broken. Because see, the psychic said, if you can open the door. She didn't say the door will open. So after that, he just got, like, really discouraged, and obviously, like, if he sees that the curse is not going to be broken for him, so I guess it's still on him to this day. That happened a few years ago. To this day, he's still not married. So yeah, he wasn't able to break that curse that was put on him. And I'm pretty sure that was like when she was saying like the curse has been put on you at a young age, I'm pretty sure she was referring to like the curse that was put on like the whole family, basically all of the siblings. There's no explanation for why he couldn't open the door. Like I said, it's the same key. Everybody else that was there was able to open it except him. So that just, like, logically, it doesn't make any sense, which is why there is like a supernatural meaning behind it, because it doesn't make any sense. All right, so this is the last story that I'm going to tell you guys, because I don't want this video to be 100 years long. I do have some more stories, but we can save those for another time. But this last story, to me, it was the scariest, because like when my mom told me, I was literally crying, because I'm like, that's fucking scary. This one's not really black magic related, but it's still like supernatural related, okay? So basically, same thing in this village. I think this whole village is just fucking haunted. That's why when I go there, I'm always just so scared. So this was a while ago, and this happened to my grandma's sister. Well, my grandma's sister lives in this house with her husband and, I don't know, a kid or something like that. And there's this whole kind of superstition that, like, before, not anymore, that, like, you're not supposed to go outside your house past 12 at night for whatever reason. We'll get into that. So it's one night, and the way that it works in Macedonia, in these villages, are that all the washrooms are outside of the house. They have like a little, literally a wooden outhouse, 2 logs, like 2 planks of wood. That's your toilet. And then there's just like, you know, they build the outside with wood so that you can have some privacy. But there's no toilet. It's just, you just kind of pop a squat. That's why my quads are deezed. Anyways, so she goes outside. It's pretty late. Like, let's say it's like, I don't know, 12:30, 1 a.m. because she needs to go to the washroom. So she's walking towards the washroom, and she hears singing coming from the street. So now this whole superstition with like that you're not supposed to go outside past 12 was because there's basically this thing, which is like, I guess you would consider it like ghosts. But they're not like, they're ghosts, but they're like human form. I don't know the English word for it. I don't even know how to describe it for you. But they would basically come at night after 12, and they would, let's say if there was like a new baby born, they would like leave like blessings and goodwill and like money for the family on the good days. But on the bad days, they could do some bad stuff. So that's why you're not supposed to leave your house, because these things come at night, like after 12. I forgot what they were called. Oh my god, I don't even know the Macedonian word for it. So my grandma's sister, she's outside, and she hears like this singing coming from the street, from like many voices. It's not just one voice. She's like many. So okay, like she doesn't recall any parties going on. There's no weddings. There's nothing. So she walks more towards the street, and she sees, because it's still pretty far from her, she sees like a crowd, but she can't make out any faces. It's just like shapes, but she sees that there's a crowd, and it's still really far. So she's like looking, she's looking to see. The singing keeps getting louder and louder because the crowd's coming closer to her. And as the crowd's coming closer to her, she sees these things. They're like dressed in all white. They don't have like regular human faces. Like it's kind of like their faces are just like slightly there. Like maybe like she'll see like an eye or like a nose or something, but like the features are just kind of blurry. Their whole thing's kind of blurry. They're wearing like clothes, but they're like floating, and everything's blurry basically. So she sees this thing, and they're coming close to her and close, like closer and closer, but she's so like amazed because she doesn't know what the hell's going on. So she just keeps watching them. And like although she's scared, she's just more like intrigued. So this crowd comes like right in front of her house basically, and then that's the last thing that she remembers. She remembers them just coming straight to the house. Oh my god, why am I like tearing up? Because I'm like scared. Okay, and then she woke up the next day. She's in her bed, and there's bruises everywhere. Her entire body is filled with bruises. Like imagine like someone just punched you in every single part of your body, but with enough force to leave a bruise. There's bruises all over her legs, her back, her arms, everything. So there's like her husband wakes up, and he's like, what the hell happened? Like they're all so confused. Like nobody knows what happened. She doesn't remember anything. The last thing that she remembers is just the people were like right in front of her door, like her where she was standing basically, and that's it. And then she woke up and she's like, okay, like what the fuck? So she's thinking, if she fell, like logically, if you fall down, yeah, sure, you can get a bruise, but the shapes of the bruises were not like a bruise of you falling. It literally looked like someone like punched like different parts of her body. And even if she fell, how would there be bruises like on her chest and on her back and on her side and on this side? Like if you fall once. And then if she fell, how did she get back inside the house? Because she has no recollection of that. Her husband has her husband just woke up in the morning. Her kid just woke up in the morning. Nobody heard anything strange. Nothing like they didn't see anything strange. No one heard anything strange. Really, it makes no sense. So basically she went to like a psychic, obviously, and the psychic told her that she saw like those people. I don't know the name for them, but like the ghosts, I guess we can call them the ghosts, that she did see the ghosts, and they are the ones who caused those injuries to her, which is, I guess, the story that they were going with. And I wish that there was cameras back then so that they could have taken a picture, but my grandma obviously saw, and she was the one who told me. And she's like, there was bruises everywhere. It doesn't even make sense of how that could have happened to her. Like it doesn't make sense. There's no other logical explanation as to how these bruises could have happened to her, and like how she just doesn't remember anything. But she said like the sound of them singing, it wasn't in Macedonian, it wasn't in any language that she could recall. It was just this loud singing. There was men, there was women, there were children, and they were all just kind of wearing all white. They were floating, like they were like floating shadowy figures, but she could see them, and they were singing. And she was so surprised that she was the only one that could hear them at that time, because she said they were singing really loud, and it's a small village and more people would hear. No one else has any recollection of that day. So the other thing too, like could she have just been like hallucinating, or but she has no history of any mental illness, no history of any hallucinations, no history of any like crazy dreams. So I don't know. You guys can make whatever you want out of that story, but I know when my mom told me, I was scared as hell. I'm like, Mama, when we go to Macedonia, I'm not going outside past 12 in this village. I'm not going to the washroom alone. Don't leave me anywhere alone. I will cry. Anyways, that concludes this video. Like I said, like my family has some weird stories, and if you want to believe them, you can. If you don't believe them, because like my dad thinks there was all bullshit. He's like, oh, they're just lying to you, or they're just playing games with you. But I'm like, why would my mom lie to me? Why would my grandma and all my cousins, like, why would my whole family create these lies amongst themselves? It just doesn't make any sense. But um, yeah, that's how kind of like, things work in Macedonia. And in a lot of other, I'm sure in a lot of other cultures, there's also different forms of black magic and voodoo and all of that type of stuff. And it's interesting to get into. Obviously, it's kind of creepy, and it's not black magic's not seen as a good thing. Obviously, like if you're a religious person, it's seen as the devil's work, which is why people are so like they want to stay away from that type of stuff. Thankfully, I can say that nothing has happened to me or my immediate family, my parents. It's just kind of all like my other family, like my cousins and stuff. I do plan on going to a psychic next time I go to Macedonia, just because like I don't know, I want to see what they're gonna say, because all of the ones there, they just seem like they're very, I don't know, all the ones that my family has been going to have clearly given them some good signs of, of different things. But yeah, that's my little Halloween video. If that scared you, great. I'll eventually make a part 2 to talk about all the rest of the stories. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you want, you can like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I do have some ideas. I just have to film them and I just have to get them out there. I just don't have time. I want to be more consistent on here. I just don't have time, but I promise I'll try to do it. I'll try to do it. Not that you guys probably even give a shit, but I give a shit, and that's all that matters. Anyways, have a nice day. Happy Halloween. Eat candy. Do whatever. Don't do black magic, okay? Bye.